Hello everybody, welcome to Also Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I am trying to hit 100k on this channel by the end of the year, and I am now 45k away from that, so it would be much appreciated. Also drop a like on this video, it only takes 1 second and it makes a massive difference. One more thing I have to say real quick, I did a video over on my film channel, which is the first time in like 6 months over there, where I did a review for Bo Burnham's Inside, and really just a reflection on it, not necessarily a review. It just gave my thoughts on that special. Bo is someone that I've been a massive fan of since I was like 12 years old, so just wanted to talk about him for a bit, and I did that in that video. So if that's something that interests you, then please go check that out. Top link, pinned comment, card above. Anyways, Bucks versus Nets. Game 6. Yes, this is Game 6. After Game 5 was just an absolute disaster for the Bucks. The Bucks completely swing back in Game 6 and look like they really should have for this entire series, and specifically in the fourth quarter. I'm going to get to that though. So first things first, on the net side of things, is I want to focus primarily on the Bucks here because they made some adjustments in this one, which first of all, just that sentence aloud sounds crazy, but it also came like pretty damn late. But we'll talk about that in a second. So, net side of things, Kevin Durant, good game, but not as amazing as game 5. And then James Harden, 16 points, 7 assists, 4 steals on decent efficiency. Hit a couple of step back threes, got a floater, or maybe 2 different floaters. There was a nice give and go play with Blake Griffin. He definitely did stuff, but it wasn't, James Harden. Like 16 and 7 is not James Harden numbers for 40 minutes of action. He was definitely a step slow. There was one thing in particular that my dad pointed out to me. Expert analysis, my father. He got a steal on Giannis in the lane, and then he just pulled it out instead of trying to drive and create a break because he just didn't really have the energy for it. So Harden was much better in this game than in Game 5, but still definitely not James Harden. Other than that, I did say that a big factor in Game 5 for the Nets was obviously Kevin Durant had that amazing game, but more importantly than that, well, not more importantly than that, that's a bad way to phrase it, but on top of that, and what really sealed them that victory, was they also got an amazing performance from Jeff Green and Blake Griffin. While Blake played fine in this one, Jeff Green shot 2 for 9, and just was not the unstoppable threat from outside. That I think it was like 7 for 9 from 3 in the Game 5. So not that today. I think he hit 1 3-pointer, which he has 5 points. So that would line up. You can't hit more than 1 under those circumstances. So yeah, there was just not much contribution outside of James Harden and Kevin Durant. Joe Harris had a little bit of a moment in either the late third or early fourth quarter where he had a drive on Giannis for a layup that was difficult, and then he hit a big 3, and he started like trash talking. But then he didn't really for the rest of the game, he didn't do anything, not just after that, but before that as well, he wasn't doing anything. So this is 2 back-to-back not great Joe Harris games. And being that, they don't have Kyrie and James Harden hasn't been what he has been, you'd like Joe Harris to step up, and he hasn't really done that. But other than that, I think mostly the result of this game just came from the Bucks did a pretty good job defending. Now, does not mean I wasn't frustrated about the fact that Giannis was not guarding Kevin Durant for most of this game. And that should be the matchup going into Game 7. But it was serviceable enough. PJ Tucker in Game 4 especially, I was at that game, and I'm going to be posting the video where I and Nicholas talk about that game tomorrow. But while PJ Tucker played physical defense, he really wasn't doing that so much in Game 5. And in this game, he was a little bit better with it. But still, just Kevin Durant shooting over a guy who's 6'5". And hey, PJ Tucker is a big dude, but at a certain point, it's hard to contest a shot that's that fucking high in the air. And that's the reason why people have wanted Giannis. It's not just because, like, a lot of people are like dismissing that, like, well, Giannis isn't actually that great of a perimeter defender. He more so is a help defender and a paint defender and a rim protector and a post defender. And all that is true. But he's also 7 feet tall with like 19-foot long arms. And he's not a bad perimeter defender, so he's your best matchup for Kevin Durant. He just purely has the size to where he can actually get a hand up on a shot from a 7-footer with a high release point. And that's really what made the difference in the fourth quarter is that it wasn't necessarily targeted, but there were multiple instances where Kevin Durant found himself on Giannis, and we saw a difference there. Now, Giannis still did not have straight up that matchup, but he found himself in more instances where he was actually guarding Kevin Durant. And the first time, air ball. Second time, turnover. Third time, Kevin Durant gets a shot over PJ Tucker instead of Giannis. And then the fourth time down the floor, Giannis contests the three again up for Kevin Durant, and he misses badly. A little bit of a coincidence there, maybe. No, it's not. It's because Giannis is the best defender for Kevin Durant. In fact, I saw a graph that said in the last 8 years, Giannis is statistically the defender who has held Kevin Durant to the lowest field goal percentage in the league, which there's not a whole lot of games there, but there's enough that at the very least, Giannis is not bad at defending Kevin Durant. And still, we get fucking Jrue Holliday and PJ Tucker and Chris Middleton checking him, and it's just very, 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 very frustrating. That being said, everything else, the Bucks defended flawlessly. Like, literally, Kevin Durant's one-on-one matchup is the only thing that they did a poor job defending in this game. After that, they had things handled. Joe Harris was not getting clean looks. James Harden didn't really put too much pressure on the defense, so they didn't really have to try too hard to stop him there. They got their hand up on Jeff Green after giving him a lot of open looks in Game 5. There was a possession in particular where they got Blake Griffin to basically get baited into shooting a three, where Giannis backed away, and then Blake went for a fake pass, realized he was open for a second, but then Brook Lopez blindsided him and got a shot up, and then Blake bricked that terribly. So really just everything except for Kevin Durant was defended flawlessly in this game, and that's the reason why it was a pretty easy victory for the Bucks. But one of the reasons why Giannis found himself switched on Kevin Durant so much, and the difference that made, is that Giannis Antetokounmpo was playing center. You heard that right. I have talked about this shit for 2 fucking years now, but Mike Budenholzer finally put Giannis at center, and that is where the Bucks blew the game wide open. I believe they went on a 14-0 run in the early stages of the fourth quarter. Giannis consistently was on the switch for Kevin Durant, and instead of it being Brook Lopez on the switch, who I will say, credit to him, Brook Lopez actually did a really good job stepping up in the pick and roll in this game, and he deserves credit for that. There was one instance where he forced Kevin Durant to go to a baseline pull-up, and there's one pull-up that Durant made that it was just dude, Brook Lopez did everything he could do right there. Kevin Durant was just good and made it anyways. And that wasn't always the case, especially in Game 5, where it was just how many times are you going to drop in and be late to get a hand up on that shot? This game, Brook Lopez did that at a good rate. However, still not the best option out there in that regard. Giannis at center is, and they had Pat Connaughton out there. I believe he was at the 2, Drew at 1, Chris at small forward, and then PJ at power forward. And that lineup just tore apart the Nets on both ends of the floor, but really it just stood out defensively, where Kevin Durant was trying to create stuff and there was just not that much space for him, and the players outside of Kevin Durant just were not capable of really doing anything. On the offensive end of things, Chris fucking Middleton, dude. Chris Middleton came through big time in this game. Now, I also have to talk about Giannis, but at least offensively, Chris was absolutely the best player on the Bucks today. So you're going to read 38 points on 11 of 16 from the field. He put up 38 on 16 shots, and that already seems crazy. He's at 69%. I think this is the second time now where I'm going nice after that, because I think that's what he shot for Kevin Durant's Game 5. 5 for 8 from outside, 11 for 12 from the line. All those free throws legitimate. He had 2 and 1 3-pointers. Chris Middleton was lights out in this game. He was lights out in this game, and it was just an outright flawless performance from him. And the box score, which is already insane, doesn't even do justice just how much it felt like not Kevin Durant, Freudian slip maybe. Chris Middleton had this game on lock. Outside of that, Giannis, no 3-pointers, and only 2 or 3 mid-range shots, and a little bit less trying to create at the top of the key. That being said, it still happens at a way higher rate than I would like, but it's at the very least going down. Outside of that, he just attacked well. The game really just felt like it was over when he got that putback dunk on Jeff Green. Very good rebounding as you'd expect for him. Good defense, but pretty standard Giannis performance where he kind of just cut out the weaknesses of his game and focused on what he was good at. And even though this is not the highest Giannis box score game, this is probably the best Giannis game of this series, just simply because he played the way he was supposed to. He did not give in to what the Nets wanted him to do, and that just made life easier for him. It made life easier for his teammates. Other than that, Drew Holliday. He had 21 points, but the efficiency was poor, and he was 1 for 10 from outside. And I was complaining about this on Twitter, and someone pointed out that apparently the last 2 years, Drew Holliday is actually really efficient on step-back threes. But at least in the playoffs, they just have not been working, and it's pretty frustrating to watch him go to it over and over. He had at least 4 of them, 4 step-back threes in this game, and it's like, dude, you're not that guy as an outside shooter. You're just not. Or at the very least, you're not in this series. Drew has historically been a very inconsistent three-point shooter. He'll shoot like 38% one season and then 31% the next, and that's fine. But he's shooting threes in this series, and especially in this game, like he's one of the better shooters in the NBA, and it's pretty frustrating. And when the Drew Holiday trade went down, I was like, okay, the Bucks have their second best player. Chris Middleton has absolutely been better than Drew Holiday in the playoffs and in this series in particular, obviously in this game. And I was not expecting that. So Drew Holiday, a little bit of a letdown in the postseason so far, but overall you can't help but feel overwhelmingly positive about this performance from the Milwaukee Bucks. Drew Holiday played fine outside of that. He probably should have attacked James Harden a little bit because he was playing on one leg. Chris Middleton was electric. Giannis played his best game of the series, in my opinion. And outside of that, there was not much contribution. It was really just those three. And actually looking at it, 68 plus 21 would be 89 points. Did I do that math right? Am I being a fool right now? I'm legitimately going to check because I don't want to look like an idiot. Yes, I said 89, right? I said 89, right? Okay, whatever. 89 of their 104 points. So, yeah, it was really those guys taking care of business. Other than that, Brook Lopez had a couple of touches in the paint, which was nice to see. At least use him for his size for what it is. Other than that, though, that was about it in their contributions. However, it was all it took. And going into Game 7, if they just go in with this adjustment of we're mostly going to go to Giannis at center, we're going to put Giannis on Kevin Durant more and make those things happen, situations like that, where at the very least, if he's not the primary matchup, he often finds himself on Durant. Something like that would be great. And if they go into Game 7 with that, with James Harden still not being amazing, with Kyrie Irving probably not playing Game 7, I have no reason to believe he will, they can absolutely win Game 7. Now, they're doing it on Brooklyn's home court, so that can sway things. But for the most part, as long as you don't let Kevin Durant have 37, 17, and 10, and you don't have an outlier performance from Jeff Green and Blake Griffin, you're probably going to be okay. Just don't fuck up on offense. I also have to mention that the Bucks have been terrible in the fourth quarter in the playoffs, and they were fantastic in this one. And it's because they made those adjustments. And I just hope that Budenholzer learns from that and then does it again, because we've seen him actually make an adjustment and then he just fucking goes back to the same shit the game previous. So I'm really, really, really hoping that he doesn't do that. But overall, I picked the Nets to win this series, but the Bucks are like my third or fourth favorite team in the league. So I'm rooting to be wrong. So yeah, good job, Milwaukee. That is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this. That is my main channel outro. You're supposed to say bye, you fucking moron.